Hello and welcome. My name is David Sabat, and in this video, I'm going to run you through a demonstration of Dynamics 365 Field Service. There's so much that this has to offer, but what I want to do is just demonstrate some of the key features, which is going to give you a good understanding of how this can be used for your organization. For those of you that may not know what Dynamics 365 Field Service is, it's a tool to manage service requests. So there's some key components I'll show you on screen here. You can manage demand, that's things like opportunities cases, which can be converted to work orders. You've got Azure IoT and then the service agreements. You then can plan the work, so you've got a really nice interface to schedule and dispatch the right people to the right place with the right skills. You empower technicians by using a mobile application, so they've got all they need at their fingertips. You engage with customers via things like the customer portal. They can track technicians. You've got the email and SMS notifications as well, keeping them updated every step of the way. Reporting and analytics. So you obviously want to be able to drill into that vast amount of data that you're capturing within Dynamics 365 Field Service to understand it better and make more informed business decisions to improve that service that you're providing your customers with. There's so much that field service covers, but in this demonstration, what I'm going to do is take you on a journey through the system, and via that journey, we're going to touch on lots of key components that the field service application supports. So we're going to start off with a work order, and we're going to look around some of the information that the work order captures. We're going to then dive into the scheduling aspect, and look at scheduling some engineers and how easy that is to do, and managing the schedule aspect within field service. We're going to then look at the technician perspective. So I'm going to show you it from a mobile point of view and what it looks like when a technician is on site carrying out the service request. We're going to look at the customer and engagement side of things, so the keeping customers updated every step of the way. So what does it look like from the customer perspective? What emails are they receiving, and some of the triggers along the way. And we're going to finish off with analytics. So that data that we're capturing, how are we going to interpret that data using things like dashboards and views to break the information down as we see fit. To make the demonstration easier to follow, at each section of these demo touch points, I'm going to bring up a slide which is going to highlight some of the key features of that area. We're then going to dive into Dynamics 365 Field Service to demonstrate those features within the application, starting off with a work order. So what are they? These are unique records that capture key information about a service request. So on the right hand side, we've got some aspects that tie in with it, and I'm just going to run through these, and then we're going to jump into the system, and I'm going to show you what they look like within Dynamics 365 Field Service. So Azure IoT, these are devices located at customer sites that can be connected to the internet and send automatic alerts directly through to Dynamics 365. So you can proactively maintain equipment on site. So if a refrigeration unit drops below a particular temperature, for example, it can notify you. You can flag that within Dynamics 365 and proactively send an engineer to go and have a look to see what's going on. You've got case and opportunity conversion. So when you're creating a case for a service request or an opportunity for a particular order, for example, off the back of that, you can convert those records into a work order to then arrange for an engineer to go and visit and do something. We're going to look at some of the key information that's captured on the work order, so the incident type and how that ties in with the information displayed, things like products that are associated to the work order if they're needed, services, service tasks, and costs, which are obviously important. I've now moved into Dynamics 365 and I'm currently in the case section. So as I mentioned from the slide, what we can do is convert an active case or an opportunity to a work order. In this scenario, I'm going to convert a case and just show you how that information is automatically taken from the case that's created and pushed into a work order ready to schedule an engineer to go out and perform a service request. So in this scenario, we've got some cases, active cases from customers where they've called up and they've got an issue. We may be able to resolve them with a case. So it might be actually just giving them some information that they need, maybe switch it off and back on again as a really simple example, or maybe sending them a knowledge base article where it talks them through how to reset a device to factory settings. What this case is going to do is capture some key information about the request. So, what's the title? Where does it come from? Is it associated to an organization or an individual? And in this scenario, it's associated to an organization and an individual that has raised a request. You can also see it's associated to a particular product, so a printer in this scenario. And you can also have entitlements. So, is there a support agreement in place to manage that particular product there as well? When I'm happy with that and I can't take it any further, so I've given them some advice, but actually we need to send someone out to service this device or take a look, I can then select convert to work order from the top of the screen like so. I've now navigated to the newly created work order. In here you can see it's automatically pulled through some key information from the case which we converted it from. So on the left hand side you can see the account information. On the right hand side you can see the primary contact that's associated to that, in this case Jim. If we scroll down, it's associated a status. So as this work order progresses through the system, we're going to change it from one status to another. And what you could also do is set triggers. So when it's changing from those statuses, it automatically notifies the end user that something's changed or something's going to happen, for example. So a nice way to create some automation and update the end user. If we scroll down, it's associated a work order type from the case, which is diagnosis and repair. And what this basically does is automatically associate some service and service tasks to this work order. So again, you can define these yourself depending on how you want that set up, what you want them to be called. But this is a pre-configured one which will automatically associate some services and service tasks to the work order, which we're going to dive into in a second. If we scroll down, you can see there's a price list associated to it, and some more information that's being captured there. Now moving into the settings tab, and again this is just capturing some more information about the work order. So I just wanted to go over this because this information that's being captured is very important for when you come to schedule the service request or the engineer. So in the general section you've got a priority, work location, also a territory if it falls in a particular location. You've got some instructions, also a contact down there if it was reported by an individual. What I really like is this preferences section. So when you're communicating with a customer and talking to them about scheduling someone to come out and visit, they may say that they're only available in a particular time frame. So this is when you can define that information in the system. So when you come to schedule an engineer, you can actually tie those two areas up and say, right, does this accommodate the customer's needs? So a really good way to offer that tailored customer experience. I've now moved into the services tab. I've skipped the product section because I've not associated any products to this work order, but you can see there's an automatic service that's been associated to this. That was based on the type that we selected in the summary section. And again, you can define these yourself. You can have lots or you can have none at all. You can also manually create these yourself if you wanted to, but it's a lot easier to automate that mundane task of creating these individual components, whereas you can just select the type and it does it all for you. I can actually click into this particular service and see some more information about it. I can add a description, and then I can see some information about the costing as well. Now moving into the service tasks tab. So again, you can see it's automatically generating some service tasks based on the type that we selected in the summary section. You can define what these are. Again, as with the services and your organization, they're going to be completely different depending on what products you're dealing with. So again, you can define all of this. So when you select that type in the summary section, it pre-populates all of this information for you. You can also manually add new service tasks in there if you wanted to. What these are tasks that the engineer needs to carry out in order to complete the work order. So what we're going to do later is flick to the mobile perspective as the engineer, and you're going to see these service tasks on the mobile device, which in real time they can click into and complete. And what that will do is update dynamics, so whoever's looking at it from the other end can see that certain tasks have been carried out and completed, and move on to the next thing and hopefully get the work order closed and keep the customer happy. We're now going to move into scheduling, which ties in nicely with the work order that we recently generated. And the scheduling really starts bringing everything together within field service, and you'll see there's a lot of functionality. We're just going to dive into some key areas of it, which is the schedule board, and showing you how easy it is to manage those resources and those technicians and see what their diary looks like throughout the day. You've also got the filtering and map view, so this is a nice feature to be able to filter on individuals based on certain criteria, which we're going to look at. You've got a time off request section, so when them technicians want to book some time off, they can do that. You've also got time entries for the hours that they've worked. Moving back into Dynamics and the work order that we just created, when we're happy to schedule this to an engineer, what I can do is select book from the top of the screen. What this is going to do is pull through some of the information that we just populated in the work order. So one example is the time and date that the customer would like us to go out and visit. If we populated that information in the work order, it would pull it through here and it would look for available technicians around that date and time. On the left hand side here, you can see the schedule assistant filter. We're going to look into this in a bit more depth when we go onto the schedule board, but at glance, you can see it's looking for a particular date. You can look at a particular time. The individuals that are up on screen, so you can see there's myself, Victor, and Roland. It's looking at those three individuals because they've got the characteristics of the assembly diagnosis and the assembly repair. So as long as we've got those associated to those individuals, it's going to pop up. And again, you can configure these to your heart's content. So every organization's going to have different characteristics and lots of different engineers that specialize in different things. So behind the scenes, you can configure that. So when you come to schedule certain work, it's going to find the right person with the right skills to be able to carry out their job successfully. Moving into the schedule board, and this is something I absolutely love. It's such an easy to use interface, and when you've got multiple engineers, technicians with lots of work on, you can at glance see that work that's scheduled into the diaries. What you can also do is move this around. So if I wanted to move this work around, I can actually just drag and drop it into someone else's diary. On the left hand side here, we've got the filter view. So again, if I want to filter on individuals based on roles or territories that I set up in the background, then I can do that really easy to understand who with a specific skill set has got what on for a particular day, for example. At the top, you've got some visual filters. So again, I can change the dates. I can export this information. I can click into these individual work orders to understand some more information about it and what's happening with that individual. Take the booking that we just made for myself as an example. If we just click into that, it's going to bring up a booking section where I can see some more information that relates to that booking that we've just made from the work order. So I can go in there and start amending some of that information. You can see key info such as start time, end date. I can actually add some information to the timeline if I wanted. And then you've got some other information about scheduling as well. If we just close that, on the left hand side in the scheduling section, there are some other key areas that you can dive into just to look at some of the scheduling aspects, but we're not going to look at those today. By using field service, you empower your technicians. There's lots of features that enable this, and we're going to dive into some of these, but I just wanted to highlight some of the capabilities. So you've got things such as mixed reality, the mobile application, which is giving technicians access to the key information and everything they need at their fingertips, such as service tasks, products, and you can also take a picture when you're on site of maybe a faulty product or something that may need replacing. Push notifications. You've also got remote assist, so real-time assistance from someone who knows about that particular product or knows how to service it while you're on site with a customer. We're now looking at it from a technician perspective. So this is the mobile app which I've opened up on my mobile device as a technician on site or preparing my daily bookings. You can see on screen I'm not very busy, but this is the booking that we created off the back of the work order that we scheduled in and I have in my diary, so I can see that. And if I had lots of other bookings, I'll be able to see that from this screen. If I click in the top left hand side of the screen, I can actually go into Dynamics 365 Field Service and start looking at other areas if I wanted to. Very, very easy and quick to navigate around and add information. That's the beauty of using the app. So I can click into this individual booking. see some key information about the booking, so you can see it's associated to me. You can see how long it's going to take on average. Obviously there may be an issue, and if that's the case I can flag that, but on average for this particular booking and the task that I need to carry out, it's going to be 2 hours. I've got a timeline at the bottom so I can quickly and easily add some new comments if I wanted to. I'm just going to scroll up, click on the ellipsis. Let's click on work order services. So you can see this is a service that needs carrying out. There could be multiple ones. So this is pulling the information directly from the work order. So this is what we explored earlier. If I click on that again and go to the service tasks, these are the tasks that I need to carry out as an engineer on site. So if I click into these individual tasks, you can see how long it's going to take. Once I'm on site and I've completed it, I can click in here. I can say whether it's taken a little bit longer or maybe less. Hit mark as complete. You can now see that that individual service task has been completed. There's 3 outstanding tasks that I need to carry out, which are below. What I can do as well from the top of the screen, select new and add some new service tasks if I was on site and I needed to do that, for example. Let's click into diagnose issue. So again, there's some information about this individual service task in there. What I really like is this feature where we can add an image to this individual service task. So if there's a broken product or something like that that we want to update an image to the system, we can do that while on site really, really quickly and easy to do. So if I click on the ellipsis button, select notes, let's go to enter a new note, found fault. Let's take a picture of the item. Let's use the photo and add that to the service task. And just to finalize the information that we've just captured from the mobile app, I'm now back in Dynamics 365 web version. So if I click into the bookings on the left hand side, you can see all the bookings that we've got in place. You can see the booking that we've made for myself. If I click into that booking and go to related and go to service tasks, as we did on the mobile view, you can see that the read diagnostic codes has been completed. If I click into diagnose issue and go to the note section, I'll be able to see the note that I added from the mobile view. Click on the image. And as you can see, it's very, very easy to pull that information up. Now moving over to the customer engagement aspect. Obviously, with tools such as this, you want to be able to interact with the customers that are raising these requests. So obviously field service is going to accommodate that, and there's lots of different channels that allows you to communicate with customers automatically. So you've got things like auto notifications. So there's like triggers behind the scenes that can auto notify customers, send emails when requests have been raised or someone's been dispatched. You've got the customer portal, so the customers can access the portal and see the requests that they've raised and the status of them. You've got technician tracking, so the ability to track technicians when they're en route to a particular job. SMS notifications, if you integrate a SMS provider, you can then automatically notify them via notifications. You've got surveys as well. So once the job has been finalized and you want to gather some feedback regarding that technician or the job that was completed, you can send that via customer voice, automatically gather that feedback to improve the services that you're providing. Just to demonstrate how some of that interaction or that automation can look like from a customer perspective, what I've done now is log into an email account for Jim Sullivan, and you can see here some automated emails that have been sent over to him when the request was raised. So you can see that the new case request was raised there. If I click on that, you'll be able to see some information about the case that was raised. And again, this is pulling dynamic values from Dynamics. So you're not going to have to populate those emails. It's going to populate those fields for you in an email that can be sent directly to the customer. You've got one to say that the booking's confirmed. So that's when it moves over to a work order. And then you've created that booking and scheduled it in. So that's sending the customer some details about that individual booking. And again, it's populating all that information, sending it over to the customer. and then they can respond to it and amend it if they want to by getting in contact with you. You've got a case closure email, and then this one. So this is using customer voice. This is sending an automated survey around this field service experience that they've just received. So if I click into that and select start survey, it's going to take me to a new screen which will then allow me to fill in some information regarding the recent visit, and I can collate that information and understand it better, understand the feedback that we're receiving from our customers regarding the engineers and site visits, so we can improve that service and offer a better customer service moving forward. To finish off the demonstration, I'm going to touch on analytics. So you're capturing a lot of information in your dynamic system, whether that's around accounts, contacts, cases, right the way through to those individual bookings that we're creating that relate to work orders. You need a way to manipulate that information and understand it to make more informed business decisions. So Dynamics helps you achieve this via some of the methods that are on screen there. We're going to dive into the dashboards. I'm going to show you one of the pre-configured dashboards in the system and what that looks like, but you can configure your own. And this allows you to manipulate the data in real time using charts and graphs. You've also got views, so this allows you to easily break down the information in a list format where you can change the columns and just display the information that you want to look at. You've also got reporting capabilities, and then you can extend functionality to things such as Power BI, where you can actually drill in that data in much more depth and use some charts and graphs outside of Dynamics to extend some of that functionality. Just wanted to quickly highlight the pre-configured field service administrator dashboard. So again, as I mentioned, this is a pre-configured dashboard, but you can create your own ones to manipulate the data as you see fit. So this particular one doesn't look too interesting. That's because I haven't got lots of sample data in the system. But if I did, this chart and some of the graphs would look a little bit more interesting. So you can see this particular one's breaking down the information by type and month. If I scroll to the bottom, you've also got active work orders this fiscal period. So you can see that these are broken down by the type of work order they are. What I could also do is drill into that information by selecting the ellipsis button, view records, and then I can actually click into these different sections to drill into those work orders that are open and manipulate them by type just by clicking into these individual components. It's as easy and as simple as that. I hope you found that useful. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch. My details are up on screen. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now.